What's going on, guys? Victor here with a brand new video, and I got to talk about the co-main event of UFC 277. And yes, today you said it, we are on the eve of UFC 277 via the American Airlines Arena in Dallas, Texas. And this fight and the co-main event is going to take place for the interim flyweight UFC championship of the world, and it's going to be between Brandon Moreno, the former UFC flyweight champion of the world, versus Kai France. And this fight is going to be very impressive. It's going to be action-packed from beginning to end. Both these individuals believe that they're going to be able to get the finish. Both these individuals believe that they're going to get their hands raised at the end of the night. And as we all know, these two individuals have history with one another. They're both in the same season of the Ultimate Fighter. The Ultimate Fighter Season of Champions. Basically, a tournament of UFC, not UFC, but flyweight champions around the world, whether it was in South America, Africa, Europe, you name it. They brought all these flyweight champions in for one season. They competed in the tournament, and the winner was able to get a chance to fight Demetrius Johnson, who was the current flyweight champion at that time. And I still believe he is the GOAT of that flyweight division till this day. But both those individuals were in the same season. Brandon Moreno was the last seed. He ended up fighting Alexander Pantoja, who was the first seed, lost to him, was finished by him. Alexander Pantoja also fighting on this very same card as well, which spices things up a lot more. Kai France was able to get along a little bit further on in the tournament of that season, but he eventually lost as well. But both these individuals were able to get contracts with the UFC a couple months after that, and they ended up fighting each other a couple years later, and it was a very entertaining fight. It was mostly on the feet. Both these individuals were bloodied up. Kai France looked like he had been through a meat grinder after his fight against Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno was able to get the victory, even though he got dropped twice in the first round. But now these guys are going at it again a couple years later in the year 2022 in the city of Dallas, Texas, where there is going to be a lot of Mexican contingency in the arena for Brandon Moreno. Wherever he goes in a state that's heavily populated by Mexicans, Brandon Moreno is always going to be the man because he brings the Mexican people to his fights. He brings the energy, he brings the spirit, and there's one thing about Mexican fighters is that they fight with the Mexican style, with a lot of spirit, with a lot of grit, with a lot of tenacity at the end of the day. And that's what Brandon Moreno has, and that's what he brings to the octagon every single time he comes up. But this is going to be a different Brandon Moreno. He left the Antrim Gym over in Tijuana, Mexico. Now he's training with James Krause over in Glory MMA and Fitness. And there's one thing about James Krause. He's an up-and-coming MMA coach. He's been coaching for a couple years now. He's only getting better and better and better. And he keeps rising up the ranks with the top of them, you know. And I believe Brandon Moreno is going to come in here with a little bit different game plan than the first fight that he had with Kai France. I don't think he's going to go in there bull rushing and trying to get the knockout and throwing him so many different combinations and basically going in and going out and going in and going out. I think he's going to be more calm. I think he's going to be more relaxed. I think he's going to be more strategized in this fight. Kai France, you know, if you want to go to the feet with Brandon Moreno, you can. If you want to go to the floor with Brandon Moreno, you can. But Brandon Moreno is a complete mixed martial artist, and he only continues to get better. But the same thing with Kai France, who's fighting out of Auckland, New Zealand, in City Kickboxing, which is also one of the best gyms in the whole entire world as well. Only continues to get better and better and better as the years go on. But Kai France continues to evolve his game. We all know that he has a lot of power. He likes to throw a lot of strikes. And when he touches you, you tend to go down. And during that last fight with Askar Askarov, he was able to weather the storm and defeat him. Askar Askarov, an individual that was poised to get a title shot, and he was able to basically steal that opportunity from Askar Askarov by clinching the victory against him. And before that, he ended up having a fight against the former bantamweight champion of the world, Cody Garbrandt, and knocking him out in the first round. He's able to utilize that pressure forward movement and set him up with that beautiful right hand, which dropped him. Cody got back up, and then he ended up getting dropped again, and the fight was over. So a lot of people really doubted Kai France in that fight. Didn't think that he was going to win. A lot of people thought he was just a stepping stone for Cody Garbrandt to get a crack at the UFC Flyweight Championship of the world, but he ruined the party. So at the end of the day, Kai France is not an individual that you can be able to rule out. He's not a stepping stone for anyone, and he earned this opportunity fair and square. And if there's one thing about him, like I said, is that he does the majority of the work on his feet. So if I were him, I would engage in a battle of attrition against Brandon Moreno on the feet the whole entire time. But if that isn't going to work out for you, then you're going to have to take down Brandon Moreno, who's very good with jiu-jitsu. As Brennan has been able to submit many of his opponents in the past. And if you go to the floor of Brandon Moreno, you're going to have to do so with caution. You're going to have to plan out your moves very strategically at the end of the day. But Brandon Moreno, I believe he believes in his striking, and he's able to utilize it extremely well when both of these individuals fought the first time, and he's not going to be scared to do it yet again. So if I'm Brandon Moreno, I'm going to try to take this to the ground because that's where the majority of us believe that he does the best of his work and he'll be able to get a finish down there pretty fast. If not, he'll be able to smother Kai France with some ground and pound. And if I'm Kai France, I'm going to stay on the feet the whole entire time, and I'm just going to do my absolute best in order to set up traps for Brandon Moreno and try to set up the knockout blow because he does have that type of power. He just needs to set his traps wisely, and he's going to have to learn from his mistakes from the last fight, correct them coming into this one, and be able to utilize all those fixes that he's able to make and go in here and be able to utilize them to his full potential. And like I said with the last video with Juliana Pena and Amanda Nunes, I think he wants to utilize that movement as well. You want to come in, you want to come out as much as possible. If you want to utilize the dirty boxing, get in the clinch, take Brandon Moreno against the fence and be able to smother him that way, work in some body shots, work in some knees in the clinch, then absolutely do that as well. You want to fluster Brandon Moreno as much as possible. That way he can be able to make some mistakes. But this is going to be a great fight. I really do like it a lot. Both these individuals are not going to disappoint. I believe it's going to be a banger for the full 5 rounds. If it's up to me, I'd love these individuals to stand the whole entire time, but I want to see these guys mix it up. I want to see the fight go to the mat. I want to see it on the feet. I want to see some submission attempts. I want to see some knockdowns. And I think you're going to see all of that in this fight because it's definitely going to be an intriguing one. And if I'm Brandon Moreno, look a little bit into that film that Brandon Moreno had against Kai France when those two individuals fought. Kai France just fell into a lot of the traps, even though that was a wild fight against Brandon Royval. And Brandon Royval was an individual that Brandon Moreno actually beat. So if I were Brandon Moreno, I'd use a little bit of that film to see the traps that were set up. Even though Brandon Royval is a very tall and lanky UFC flyweight, Brandon Moreno can definitely use some of that success that Royval used against Kai France towards his advantage as well. But I hope you guys enjoy this fight. It's going to be the co-main event for the interim flyweight championship of the world. It's going to be a banger. It's going to be a good one. And I think, if you ask me, who's going to win this fight? I believe it's going to be Brandon Moreno. It's going to basically be in his backyard, you know. Whenever you go to states such as California, Mexico, Arizona, where there's such a huge Mexican contingency, they're going to be rooting you on. It's going to be, you won't be able to hear anything. You're going to be basically deaf in there the whole entire time because of how much of all the sounds and all the noise that's going to be blocking your hearing the whole entire time. So both these individuals are going to be just basically locked on one another, and it's definitely going to be a fun fight at the end of the day. Mexican fans are going to be in there in a contingency. Like I said, they're going to be rooting on Brandon Moreno to the absolute fullest, and it's basically going to be a home fight for Brandon Moreno and a away fight for Kai France, who's extremely far away from home, all the way on the other side of the world. But like I said, when you travel such a far ways, you want to put on the best performance possible and you want to win in any means necessary. So I hope you guys enjoy the fight. Stay safe, guys. Stay blessed. And I hope you guys enjoy the fights tonight. Later.